In the last video, we talked about function. We understood how functions work and we got a very good understanding. Let's now explore functions even further. We already saw that function can take arguments. These are the values which are directly copied. And in this case, we can copy this function and let's create another program to understand this better. And let me call this function arguments.py. And we need a tab. So let me place a tab here. And I can say C is equal to add 3 and 5, and this will simply give me the value 5 plus 3, which is 8. And if I run this program, you'll see 8 is printed on the screen. So how this exactly works is that when I write add 3 comma 5, the value 3 is assigned to A and the value 5 is assigned to B temporarily. So these values are passed to A and B, then it returns A plus B, and then this value, which is 8, is returned back. I can also do something like say x is equal to a plus b and then return x, just for understanding purpose. And what happens is this computation will happen and the value will be passed back, and this will now have the value x, which is 8, and c is assigned the value 8 and then c is printed. Okay, this is how this function works. Now a and b are called parameters. Okay, these are parameters and these are arguments. In technical terms, the values which are actually passed are called arguments and these are called parameters. A and B are parameters, 3 and 5 are arguments. Okay, the difference is that 3 and 5 are the real values which are being passed and on which the computation will take place, and A and B are simply the variable names. So these are called parameters. Awesome. Now let's talk about type of arguments. The first type is positional arguments. Positional arguments are what we already saw, A and B, and in our previous example of average we saw A, B and C. These were positional arguments. Now there is something called default arguments. What are default arguments? Default arguments have default value and they are optional. Let me show it to you using an example. Let me create an argument called plus is equal to 0. Let's have a default value of 0 here, and whenever I'm returning x, or maybe whenever I'm computing this, I'll simply add plus. Let's say for some weird reason we want to return a plus b plus the value plus. Okay, let's say we want to return this. If we normally run this function, this will run, it will run 8. But if you have this argument as positional argument, it will throw an error because it will expect this argument. But in this case, since we have this as a default argument, it will not expect it as an argument. Okay, you don't have to necessarily pass the value plus. It's optional. It's totally optional. Let's say if I pass a value which is non-zero, let's say I pass 2, what will happen is this value will be overridden. Plus is not now 0, it's 2. Why? Because we have passed a value of plus, and since we have passed a value of plus, this value will be taken into account and this value will be added to a plus b, and the value of c is going to be 5 plus 3, 8, and then this will be added, which is 10. Let's see if this is the case, and yes, this is the case. The value 10 is printed on the screen, and yeah, that's how default arguments work. Default arguments are optional. You can either use a value to override them, and you have to make sure that you put this value at the very end. After the positional argument, you put the default argument. Okay, that's something that you need to take note of. Let's now talk about keyword arguments. What are keyword arguments? In this case, let us say for some reason I want to pass the value of B before the value of A. Now this is something that you will see a lot of times. Let's say instead of passing 3 and 5 in this order, I want to pass 5 and 3. I can always say B is equal to 5 and A is equal to 3. And since I have mentioned which value is which, I can write them in any order. If I have A, B and C, I can either say B is equal to 5, A is equal to 3, C is equal to 0, or C is equal to 0, B is equal to 5, A is equal to 3, or C is equal to 0, A is equal to 3, B is equal to 5, in any order. Okay, I can write these arguments in any order, but I'll have to mention it like this. And whenever I'm making a call like this, it's called keyword arguments because I'm mentioning which value is which. Okay, and this value must match values here. So it should be one of name, age, or whatever parameters this function has. In this case, it has only 2 parameters. So we have to pass name and age mandatorily, and we are doing it. Awesome. So that was about arguments in Python. I hope you are enjoying this course. See you in the next video.